It's been 20 years since the last Onimusha mainline game, and now it's coming back with Onimusha Way of the Sword. Since it's been so long, this is going to be a standalone entry to the series since there'll be a lot of newcomers to the series, including me. Before I got some hands-on time with Onimusha Way of the Sword, I was a little bit skeptical. I hadn't been convinced by the trailer that I'd like the gameplay or feel connected to the main character, Miyamoto Musashi. My first impression was that the combat seemed too easy and that Musashi's personality was a little bit dry. But after playing through a small segment of the game and experiencing a boss fight, my mind was actually completely changed. Onimusha Way of the Sword is one of those games you need to experience to fully understand why it's considered one of Capcom's legendary game series. I was surprised by how snappy the combat mechanics felt, and how the game rewards you for trying riskier techniques. You can parry, block, and dodge, or you can choose to execute an Isen move. I learned later that Isen has been around in the previous Onimusha titles, and it stands for critical hit, which will insta-kill an enemy if executed properly. Now, in order to use the Isen, you have to press the attack button a half second before an enemy's attack hits you. It requires incredibly precise timing, and it is very easy to miss, but if you do end up pulling it off, it's a huge reward. Of course, you can perfect parry and perfect dodge, which both feel equally as satisfying, but nothing really truly hits that same dopamine release as getting an Isen. If an enemy is throwing projectiles at you, you can block or parry and redirect it back at them and instantly stagger them. Onimusha's combat focuses on breaking the enemy's stamina to then do significantly more damage against them when they've lost that poise. This also means, though, that you have to maintain your own stamina use and decide which maneuver you want to commit to in a fight. Blocking will obviously drain your stamina faster, but parrying will drain enemy stamina quicker. Along with your bow and sword, you have a magic gauntlet attached to your arm that comes in pretty handy during fights. The gauntlet gives you the ability to absorb souls that charge your supernatural abilities. Now, if you parry or dodge perfectly in a row, you'll be able to speed this along. Blue souls will fill your Oni power gauge, which grants you access to using Oni armaments, while red souls act as upgrade currency and yellow souls restore your health. In the demo I played, the Oni armaments were a pair of daggers that could deal a heavy amount of damage. Now, this can be a very powerful tool, but if you're not nailing your combat moves and parries or dodges, then you'll be fighting for a while without that Oni power, so the gameplay really rewards you for being accurate and assertive. The demo showed me that Onimusha Way of the Sword isn't as easy as the gameplay capture player made it look, so kudos to you. Understanding timing and combination attacks is challenging, but super rewarding, and I personally really want to nail the Isen timing. I do want to point out that it took me a while to get rid of that Soulsborne training I had in my head when approaching Onimusha, but once I kind of realized this was going to be a whole clean slate and I had to relearn a new game, it was pretty fun. Onimusha Way of the Sword story follows Musashi, who is a samurai with a sentient gauntlet attached to his arm. Musashi visits an early Edo period Kyoto and finds that it's overrun by Genma, evil spirits and creatures, and is determined to free the land. While the gauntlet grants Musashi great power, he also doesn't really want it attached to him forever, so he seeks out the ability to remove the gauntlet from his body. Now, from the trailer and gameplay reveal, I didn't really like the tone of Onimusha and thought the dialogue was really stilted in attempting to be overly serious. But after actually playing the game, it's pretty clear that Onimusha was leaning more into the campy aspect of its story and characters. Surprisingly, Musashi has some really funny comments and moments that I wasn't expecting, but they're not like overly humorous like Marvel moments, so it kind of works. I thought Onimusha would be taking itself too seriously, but I was really happy to see that the characters have a lot of personality, which allows Capcom to have a little bit more fun with the story.
Would you just die?
The slightly stiff delivery and lines almost makes sense and lends itself to the whole thing when considering the campiness of Onimusha. Actually, Musashi has a moment when he's in a boss fight and says, "Well, shit," when the boss lifts a little shrine above his head and slams it down on him.
Got something for you. Oh, shit.
There are a few other quips from other characters that had me laughing when I'm playing the demo. I did, however, think that the English dub wasn't the best. Some of the accent choices for the characters revealed were jarring since they didn't quite fit the characters. Musashi's English voice actor has a British accent, as does Izumno, a character you meet fairly early on in the story. There was also a random civilian who Musashi saves that had the most jarringly American accent that made a few people laugh. I'm talking about an American accent that seems so stereotypical, it's almost like someone was trying to imitate what an American would sound like. This ultimately isn't a huge deal to me since I'll be playing Onimusha in the native language with English subtitles, but I did find it kind of amusing to hear the different accents for the characters. Onimusha Way of the Sword seems like it's going to be a fun experience, and I really can't wait for it to come out on September 25th this year. This really wasn't a game I was even paying attention to for the roster of titles I want to play this year, but I'm really glad I gave the demo a chance because it really changed my mind. Have you played the previous Onimusha games? If so, which ones do you think are worth replaying as a newcomer? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.